You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to the Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mix with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and... she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat basement, average 6-inch sub.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
There's a place
out where the fake news is muffled,
past the point where politicians get silent,
where facts don't care about your feelings, where PC is DOA. This is that place. Welcome to the last stop on the right.
Well, we are super glad that you decided to come on back for another edition of Podcast Fabulosity. It's the Lost Pod on the right, and I am Ben Crystal.
I'm Mike Abel.
We got a hell of a show in store for you today, my friends. Before we get into all of that, I want to remind everybody it's easy to contact us.
It is.
It's super easy to contact you. Email us through the site anytime you want. We're always I was going to say we're always willing to respond, but some of the stuff that I get, I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah, no.
I don't really know where to go with that. It's like they're telling me to do things, and I'm like, I haven't been able to move in that direction in like 30 years. So
right.
I'm going to just go ahead and give that a no. Like, do the following thing to yourself, man. And I'm like, you want me to put my foot
where?
I'm almost certain that you dreaming.
That is anatomically impossible.
You've been watching too much of that Cirque du Soleil is what's going on there. But, yeah, we're easy to email through the site. Also, you can find me on Twitter at Bennett Truth. That's 2 E's, 2 N's, 3 T's.
And they're not all in a row.
We also were hooked up with the kids at KLRN.
We are.
Who are some cool dudes. So Rick and Foo, Orty, Rod, the whole gang, the grouchy one, he knows who he is. They got some great shows over there. Go check them out on their Spreaker outlet. Go to Spreaker.com and look up KLRN.
Is he grouchier than me?
No, see, that's the thing is he's like, oh, I'm super grouchy. I'm Mr. Grouchy. It's like his character, kind of.
Oh.
And I'm like, dude, you haven't met Mike.
I'm just grouchy.
I'm just putting that out there, dude. I'm like, no, he ain't acting.
There ain't no portrayal.
He ain't acting. The boys over at KLRN, it's not a show. I mean, it's he thinks he's grouchy. He ain't met you.
Thank you.
But go check them out on their Spreaker channel. There's a lot of really good shows on KLRN that are not us. So
you're right.
There's also good stuff there. You should see what it sounds like. And we have a Facebook group that's dedicated to this thing.
We do.
The Last Stop on the Right. is the home of the Last Pod on the Right, laststopontheright.com. And there is a Facebook group you can join. And that's, you want to get in touch with Mikey, that's a good way to
That
do it.
is. And you know what? I have to say,
I know this is coming.
You knew it was coming.
Right,
but,
I'm so nerd
like
about this.
so.
Go ahead.
Of course, everybody knows Ben is always like, "Oh God, Mikey and your damn memes."
Oh,
and,
your memes
and
on
that
Facebook
stuff.
because
exactly,
it's like, dude, it's constant.
I know
and
it.
I've already seen them like 20 times.
You're right. But guess what you did this week?
I know.
You posted a meme.
All right, you got me. I posted a meme on Facebook. It was a picture of Harry Potter. But with Clint Eastwood's head superimposed, and it was Dirty Harry Potter, and you know the whole thing is they never make me laugh. That's the thing is I never laugh at them. That made me laugh, and I'm like, okay, a meme came along that I hadn't that I actually laughed out loud out.
Post it.
And I posted it, and in the moment I posted it, you were on me, and I'm like,
I was
God damn it.
I was like, oh my God, Ben posted a meme.
I hate you.
The world is
level.
coming to an end.
You can find us through Facebook, but check out the last stopontheright.com. You can Last Pod on the Right is always available. You can
You're right.
You can go catch up with old episodes, and we love to hear from you. We got we got a couple of fans out there. We've got a couple of fans out there. I feel like I should just. That's the end of the sentence.
We got a couple of friends.
And we got a couple of fans out there. Like we have more than a couple of fans,
other than our parents.
Yeah,
right? Actually, I don't know.
We have a couple of fans out there. The Hyams, they like to weigh in from time to time. So I'm saying hey to them and a few others and the Mighty Joe. So we've got more than a couple of people out there that are listening. And I'm going to assume that will end the moment they can chew through the restraints. But
I was about to say, somebody else we got to mention is P Hut because he is scrubbing toilets at the moment.
Is he scrubbing toilets?
That's
at the
what
moment?
he says. He always listens to the podcast while he's cleaning the house.
Nice.
So I figure he's probably scrubbing a toilet at the moment.
And P Hut, that is a Last Stop on the Right OG right there.
Yes.
So And I can go ahead and predict that during the football season, we could be hearing a lot from him.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, by the way, if you are a football fan, and if you're not a football fan, I'm kind of surprised that you're here. Because this is pretty much what football fans do when they're not doing football.
When it's not football season.
So, but during football season, you'll be hearing from Patrick, because I believe that may be the most ardent Georgia fan I've personally met.
Yes.
I mean,
and I've lived here all my life. Yes.
And I've met some people that are really serious about Georgia Bulldog football.
Yes.
You live in Savannah, Georgia, like we do. You're going to meet, because the Last Pod on the Right comes to you from Savannah. We're going to be getting to the Savannah segment in a minute here, but for you Savannahans.
lives in Savannah.
Yeah, so it's like a thing. And you meet some dudes that are pretty serious cats when it comes to Georgia football. And then there's Patrick. He's on his own
Class
level.
by himself.
That is the damn truth. It is Memorial Day weekend. We point that out as we're recording.
Yes,
this is Memorial Day
it's,
weekend.
Yes.
And you have been in a mood today about this.
That's just because
I'm like, go ahead, and because I know you want to rant.
I hate when people tell me, like, have a happy Memorial Day. I'm like,
I know.
That's really not what it's about.
I dig it, but
I know.
All right,
I know.
Just go ahead and get it out of your
and
system.
of course,
Mikey is a World War I historian.
I love World War I. Actually,
see, but I'm going to go ahead and ping you right there, because you're like, yo, Memorial Day is supposed to be somber and even a little bit morose, and remember why it happens. And then I love World War I. I'm like, you love World War I.
No, I love the history.
Yeah,
of it.
okay.
How about that? I
like,
love the history of it.
You're like, war is sad, but you know what I love is the second most destructive war in human history.
It's actually my bucket list to go do the Northern France and Belgium thing.
I know. So I get that. I mean, I get your point. Okay,
it's just
because
about
most people don't think about. They think of Memorial Day as like the first weekend of summer,
a 3-day weekend,
and like all the radio stations and the TV, they're going to be out there doing Memorial Day kickoff with DJs, super spins,
the top 500 rock and roll songs of all time.
I know, every rock station in America does Memorial Day weekend, and Mikey and I have both worked in the radio industry, but certainly every classic rock station that has ever existed has done a Memorial Day 500.
Absolutely.
And they're counting down the 500 greatest hits of all time. Starting with, and it's going to be one of about five songs that wins.
Let's pick one out of the hat.
Well, it depends on where you are. Like, if you're anywhere in the New York, New Jersey area, it's going to be Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen.
Right.
But if you go up to, say, Boston, it's probably going to be
Aerosmith song. And if you're here, it's probably going to be Freebird.
Yeah, it's going to be anywhere in the South. It's going to be Skinner.
And the rest of the country's like,
well, you go out to California, it's going to be the Beach Boys. And then the rest of the country, it's Stairway to Heaven.
Yep.
And, if you're a DJ, of course, you're like, Stairway to Heaven. But you only really have to hear it like twice a year.
Glad I'm not working when the show ends. I don't have to play those 10 songs.
But yeah, I get that you get upset, and I understand your point. But then at the same time, I think dudes that are the reason for Memorial Day weekend are the guys that didn't make it home.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure if you could ask them, would be like,
don't have a problem.
You know what? Get out the grill, crack open a brew.
Have a good time.
Have a good time. Hell, because if I could be, I would be.
Well, and like I said the other day.
They're like, no, I want you to remember me by being absolutely freaking miserable at the end of every May. I don't think that many dudes that went down in Passchendaele are thinking that.
No. And like I said outside a minute ago when we were talking, I said, here's
I know.
Here's to all the soldiers who didn't come home as I opened a beer.
I know.
Yeah,
you're like, oh boy, you're really taking it hard, man.
He's not a hypocrite, is he?
The thing that gets me is all the people that turn it into an opportunity to like virtue signal. Like we were talking about, like,
right.
You get the radio stations that are like, we're kicking off the summer with the top 500 hits of all time, and bibbity bobbity boo, or the guys, the car dealers that turn it into like
the big Memorial Day sale.
Like, man, I don't feel like you really, or the people that fill the social media up with like those just incredibly like just somber memes.
Right.
And it's like, you're doing that so that people can see you doing it.
Right.
It's like, it's not patriotic to be like, hey, have you noticed how incredibly patriotic I am? Go America #1. I'm like, okay, are you doing that for you, for them, or for us? Yeah, I'm just putting that out there.
Man, that voice.
The fabulous voice. I can do a number of voices.
Yes, as well I can, as you know.
And I can't do like the stereotype, like the Cheech and Chong Mexican voice. I can't do it, and I cannot do an impression of George W. Bush. Has always eluded me.
I don't know that I could do Bush.
I can do his dad.
Cheech, I could probably.
Yeah, I can do his dad. I can do Tommy Chong. Like, so you could be Cheech and I be Chong.
Oh, man.
Not that we've got people here to listen to that nonsense. So as we continue.
Man. Come on, man.
Are you done ranting, by the way?
Okay,
we're
yes, I'm sorry.
I want to remind everybody one more time that you're listening to The Last Pod on the Right here at thelaststopontheright.com or through KLR's network. And if you're listening to us through Spreaker, give us a what's up, or iTunes. Yeah, rate us on iTunes. Do that.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm just putting that out there. Like, not that you have to, but it would not suck if you did. So,
no,
you listener, you.
No,
because I can't do it. I'm not one of those guys who can go and like pretend that I'm some enthused listener.
It's the
like,
best
oh
show
my
ever.
God, Last Pod on the Right changed my life. It's amazing. People be like, come on, man.
Yeah, really.
And this is totally not Ben writing this. I can't be that guy. Because
I get it. Me too.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
I just couldn't. I couldn't in good conscience do it. All right. So, hey, you guys go do that.
I was going to say I'm going to cut you off because I saw you reach for your beer.
Well, I'm just grabbing the beer, man. I was just doing the thing. So here on the Last Pod on the Right. Okay, will you stop?
Sorry.
God, you're being such a baby today.
Okay.
For a dude as old as you are acting like a baby. I'm like, it's weird because you're like this old guy over here.
Open that damn beer.
Every week we like to do this. It's a tradition here at the Last Pod on the Right that we have a pod beer to celebrate the fact that we can have a pod beer. So at this moment, we're going to give you a chance. I hope you already went and grabbed your beer. I should have told them earlier. Go get you a beer because we're going to go get you a beer. We're going to open our pod beers and start drinking them. And then by the time we're done with that, you guys will be back from the fridge. So 3, 2, 1. Pod beer. Oh, did you see Aaron Rodgers at the
in Game of Thrones?
No, at the I think he was in a Milwaukee Bucks game. and one of his linemen was sitting straight across from him, and they got him on camera, and the lineman chugged his beer and then like threw it to Rodgers like he's supposed to chug his, and it was such a oh man, I felt bad because he could get about a quarter of it down. And then he's like, haha, I can't finish. And I'm like, dude, you just got man-carded by your own O-line in front of like
but
15,000 people plus millions more at home.
Yeah, but it's tough to revoke his man card.
That's
I mean, it's tough to do that, man.
You can't say to Aaron Rodgers, yeah, man.
Give me that card.
Because then
like,
he'll
really?
show you his MVP and his Super Bowl
ring.
And be like,
exactly.
oh, it's going to be like that. It's going to be like that. But then they had Matthew Stafford. This was so great, though, because Matthew Stafford is the quarterback of the Detroit Lions.
Let me show you my Super Bowl ring.
And,
wait.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have one of those.
Exactly.
And he probably never will, but that's a story for another day. But they showed him in a bar with Rodgers failing to chug his on the screen in the background.
No way.
And then Stafford chugs a beer. And
that's because he went to the University of Georgia.
Yeah, exactly. And Rodgers went to Berkeley, and you could at that moment you could tell why the Georgia football program is better than the Cal football program.
Well, it wasn't wine. It wasn't a craft beer.
Fairly certain he probably thought, man, if this had been a wine spritzer, I would have killed it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Mike, we got a big target list today, and I want to get into it for all the listeners here at The Last Pod on the Right, and we're glad to have you along. So tell me, what is our menu of madness today?
Well, this week's edition of Last Pod on the Right, we are going to keep you from getting used by the news.
That is our role.
That is a good thing.
That's what we do here. We're keeping you from getting you. Don't get used by the news.
Right.
Last Pod on the Right.
Right.
We should put that on like a sticker.
Bumper sticker. Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't get used by the news.
And then you'd end up with a big, huge stack of bumper stickers.
Yes, you would.
Putting that on my car. All right, what do we got?
You have a big, huge stack of bumper stickers somewhere, don't you? That's another story. Probably. Hey, you know what? We've got some peach notes for you.
Right.
Stacey Abrams continuing her denial tour.
Yeah.
She's so...
I don't know what she's doing, dude. It's like I feel like there's a come to Jesus meeting that has to happen with her, but we'll get to it.
We'll get to that. We're also going to be talking about impeachment.
Yeah,
as the Democratic Party fights an internal war over whether to try to impeach Mr. Donald Trump.
Have fun, guys. Run on that next year.
I know.
Good plan.
Go for it.
Yeah.
You know what? They also might want to focus closer to their own houses as Trump takes the leash off of Attorney General Bill Barr.
That's going to be a thing, man. They are. It's quite clear why they're panicking, and they are panicking.
Right.
All right.
You know, and then Biden and Pelosi are going to make word salad. Death at the border. Poo in San Francisco. And
wait,
what? And you heard me.
Did you say death at the border
and
then poo
in San Francisco? So much more.
Poo in San Francisco.
But first. You like that? Poo in San Francisco.
That is quality programming right there. This is podcast fabulosity. It's fun. It's our target list for today. What's in the lead? Poo in San Francisco. Oh, yeah. Talking about feces.
Death at the border.
Death and poo-poo.
All right. But there's going to be so much more, too. But keeping it close to home, let's open up the Last Pod on the Right with the scene right here in Savannah.
All right, and I would remind everybody this is something we started doing last week. We felt it was important that we do. I mean, we have a voice here. We may be able.
We do live here.
We may be able to personally greet all of our listeners by name, but I mean, there are people that are listening, and we live here in Savannah, Georgia. We talk a lot about stuff that's happening elsewhere, but we should be paying attention. And Mikey, well, it started because you were paying attention to that arena project.
Right.
The Savannah Arena project, and it got under your skin a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean.
Yep. All right. Well, this week,
so what are we doing this week?
You know, it's the tour guides.
All right.
I mean, they won a big battle.
Okay, so they won a court battle.
They won a court battle.
I'm wandering away from the microphone because I was grabbing my pod beer.
Went to federal court.
So they won. Okay.
Against.
What was the case?
They were saying that their First Amendment rights were being violated.
How so?
Because the city of Savannah was forcing them to take a history test.
Okay.
All right. Take a background check.
All right.
Several things.
I'm assuming there was a licensing fee.
Yeah, a license.
Okay.
You got to have a license to be able to do it.
All right.
And
this is for tour guides operating in the historic district of
yes,
Savannah.
and
or
which there are lots of them. I mean,
Yeah.
there are all kinds. You got the regular tours, the history tours. You're gonna got the cemetery tours, the ghost tours. There's even people here that do martini tours.
There's a martini tour?
There is a martini tour.
See, now, here's the thing, though. Okay, so you've got to, okay. I like most people that when they're honest with themselves, would prefer less government involvement in most things.
Right.
Even if you're the most ardent liberal in the world, I think we can agree that your life is the better parts of your life generally don't involve the federal government,
right,
or the state government or the city government. So I get their point. It's like, why the hell, if we're just going to walk people around and tell them stories, should we have to pay the city for the right to do it? And it is a free speech, because I'm just going to walk around and talk to people. I shouldn't have to take a test to do it, because you're essentially imposing a quiz on my First Amendment rights.
Exactly, and you're making
is their contention.
You're making the martini guy take a history test so he can take people on a martini tour.
And I'm gonna guess that very little of historical value is going to take place on the martini tour.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
It's like if the guy had to pass a history test to walk around half cocked,
here's where the first liquor store was.
But okay, so I see your point. I see your point.
So they sued the city for it. The Fed said, that's violating their First Amendment
Is
rights.
the city going to appeal?
So I don't think so. I don't think so. They actually, they kind of pulled the law. Maybe a year and a half ago, they kind of quit enforcing it.
Okay, but the tour guides were like, "No,
the tour guides are.
We don't want you to bring it back."
Right? They didn't want it to ever come back, so they sued the city for it. You know how much? You know how much they sued the city for?
$1.
Yep.
Really? It was just $1 in there, right? Okay, see that. Here's something, kids. That says to me that their cause, at least that they were legit in pushing their cause.
Exactly.
Because it wasn't about taking the city of Savannah to the cleaners. And I think if most people were honest with themselves, when people do that, when they sue the city, like, oh yeah, you got one over the city, you got one over on yourself, because where do you think that money's coming from?
Yourself. Exactly.
If you sue the government in any circumstances, first of all, you're paying both lawyers.
Yep.
You're paying your lawyer. You're also paying their lawyer.
Yep.
And if you win, that's your neighbor's money that they're giving to you. But see, I would say that suggests that the tour guide's cause was one of belief and not just a simple get rich.
Right.
So that's fine.
And I'm with them.
Here's my thing, though. I have no interest in. I cannot imagine any situation in which passing a history test at the city level is going to improve your. I mean, you're just walking around telling people stories.
Right.
Some of these stories aren't even true. I mean, and I've heard. I live close enough to the historic district. I have heard some tour guides coming up with some pretty good whoppers.
Yes.
But I'm like, does it really, is your life somehow going to be negatively impacted in the future because some tour guide in Savannah put Tomochichi under the wrong rock? I mean, is that, I got to ask that question. Say, really, if you're leaning into these guys and saying, like, you have to be more historically accurate. Well, I mean, yeah, it would be better if they weren't making crap up.
And I agree with that. The history side of it, I definitely agree with.
A lot of these stories are apocryphal anyway, so it's like they can't be proven or disproven.
Right.
And then the ghost tours, those are all fake because ghosts aren't an actual thing.
What?
So, yeah, hey, sorry, guys. Turns out they got some bad news here about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny.
I suppose you're going to tell me Santa's not real, too.
Dude, Tooth Fairy, your mom.
Oh, my God. I knew that.
I figured it out the first time I saw your mom in my room.
Wow. Yeah. So that's where we're going today.
No, we're not. No, we're not. You put it out there, but
let's move along.
But they're telling ghost stories. There's no ghost story that's true. So, like, how are you going to make them pass a history test so they can tell stories that aren't real anyway?
But you know what? No, you're right. But they do kind of need to know.
There's not going to be a moment.
Things about.
Well, do they need to, or would it just be we wish that they did?
You know, they can say so and so's great grandfather 5 times over was hung from this tree.
Well, what if he wasn't hung from that tree?
How do you know?
Well, I'm saying, like, does it make that much of a difference?
No.
Is anybody that's on a tour where the tour guide is playing fast and loose with the stories going to find themselves someday like facing like a life and death situation where they have to know when the Hamilton Turner House was actually constructed. I mean, yes, it would be better if every tour guide was a walking encyclopedia.
Right.
But
I'm obviously in the wrong business.
Well, I mean, it's not like you're going to get some guy out there who's like posing as a tour guide, but he's going to lead them like into his secret lair so he can perform experiments on them or something. It's like yes, are you here for the 8:30 historical tour? Step through this door and meet your doom. I mean, that's not going to happen. So I would agree with the tour guides. I can see how the city might want to like put a badge on them, just be like, this is an official tour guide or whatever. But then, see, there's a problem because then you would be in the situation where you had a guy who was like, I'm not getting a badge. I need no stinking badges.
Badges?
But then the city would be seen as endorsing one business over another, and that's true too. That can get tricky very quickly.
That's right.
That can get tricky very quickly. So I think it's sort of yes, the tour guides are right. And given the situation in Savannah in general, from a financial standpoint, this seems like one of those things that should not have gotten this far out of hand.
But you know what? They started it like years ago,
but
like in the 70s.
It went to the federal
you're
court
You're
system.
right, and it did wind up costing a lot of money.
Even if it didn't cost a nickel, this is time. This is time that could be spent doing things. Savannah is by no means a utopia. This is time that could have been spent doing something.
Sure.
We just put a cop in the ground.
I know, you're right. We did.
It was a big deal.
Shot.
This is a long-time veteran of the force.
Yep.
This is a married man with children, and they just buried him. And at the same time, that's happening. And I don't want to overplay the whole crime thing. I'm not doing I'm a law and order tough guy thing. I'm just pointing out that we were in federal court over whether or not the city could force you to take a history quiz to tell people stories that are in a lot of cases made up anyway.
Right. Well.
And then meanwhile, we're putting another cop in the ground.
Yeah.
So... and we were right after the arena thing where they're like, oh, yeah, we totally under budgeted for this. We screwed this up completely.
Can we borrow $45 million?
$45 million that they're going to borrow. But, yeah, let's talk about whether are you going to get enough money from licensing the tour guides to dent the horrendous overspending at City Hall?
No, probably
Is that something that you couldn't even justify it that way?
That's where the arena comes.
I mean, you could get what, like I'll tell you what, we're 45 million short, but if we hit all the tour guides with a fee, we'll be busting that. We'll have it down to nothing in no time.
I'll need to be doing 3 tours a day.
I don't think these guys are going to have to do a lot of tours, and that license is going to have to be expensive.
Right.
You want to be a tour guide? Sure. Give it, you have to like turn over $250,000. Spend the next 25 years doing tours just to get even with the city.
Yep.
All right. So we want to so it's important that people pay attention to what's going on around here. And that is something that has happened, that the city of Savannah actually fought a court battle to keep forcing people to take a test to tell stories.
Well, I don't. But did they actually fight it, or was it more just going to
they
the
never?
Fed,
but
the
they never
feds
went
and
under.
Said, well, you're
they
right.
They never gave up. They never said like, okay, we're gonna stop our opposition if you withdraw your complaint or whatever. I mean, if the city of Savannah says, okay, we're in the wrong and we're just killing the law,
right?
Then the court battle goes. But they let that go on.
But they did. I was supposed to say, I guess the city's point of view is that we did drop the law. And y'all are still going forward with it, so we're going to keep going. Right, we're going to keep going with it because you're not dropping it. And
the city council could rectify that fairly easily.
You're right; they absolutely.
It doesn't require more time.
Wait, really? No, but yeah, I see what you're
important.
saying.
And at the state level, you've got a governor who is, it's hard to judge Governor Kemp as an accomplishment governor yet. The truth is he hasn't done an enormous amount.
He did call Alyssa Milano a C-list actor.
Yes, he did. But he's signed a couple of bills that everybody knew he was going to sign.
Right.
That heartbeat bill, and we're going to be getting to that a little bit later on for a very short period of time. Right. But he signed that, and, they're going crazy about that. So that's something. But more, and I'm going to point this out to, if you are a liberal listening to this show, or you're a Democrat who listens, or you're going to talk to them about it.
Right.
While Kemp has stayed largely under the radar, because the truth is, even signing the heartbeat bill didn't put that much spotlight on him.
Nope.
It was more about all the white men who bibbity-bobbity-boo,
everybody
invading women's uteruses. But he has not done anything. In a lot of cases, when you have a governor who doesn't screw up, that can be good enough.
Right.
And on the same time, if the Democrats want to put someone together to go after him in the next round, they're going to have to get Stacey Abrams out of the way.
Right.
Because this is just, it's not funny anymore.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I would imagine somebody in the Democratic Party.
She's out there this week. We won with identity politics.
Oh, goddamn.
I'm like, you didn't win. No. So you are literally telling the Georgia Democrats to continue following a policy that ended up with you doing this weird like amnesia tour where you're telling people I won and I'm the governor.
Right.
I'm like,
amnesia tour.
It's
like
weird.
That.
It's not funny anymore.
No, it's not.
I'm the first guy on the list to be like, if the Democrats want to. Never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake.
Right.
I mean, you guys are welcome to continue doing this, but for the love of God, man, nobody even cares anymore. Right, now the story isn't Stacey Abrams is pushing. We need to talk and listen to her, and she's got a point. Now it's just, oh God, is she doing it again? She's walking around saying, we won because of identity politics. That's a quote. We won because of identity politics. I'm like, you didn't
win.
Narrator aside. You didn't win.
It doesn't matter what kind of politics it is.
But you
lost.
Well, you do that and you say you lost, but then you look at the damage that she's doing. Well, look at some of the other people that if you lose like that, then, you kind of, it's expected to get off the stage a little bit.
Yeah.
You're not, even Hillary Clinton after she lost in 2016,
yes.
I think we could be honest, she is a lot less visible now than she was before.
Even right after the election. She disappeared.
She has
somebody took a picture of her in the woods.
She's like out there hiking or whatever. Yeah. If you're the loser and it's not going to happen for you again, you're going to know pretty soon after an election if you lost whether or not they're going to come back to you.
Right.
Because they've let her do this, but there's nobody out there going. There's not a big Stacey Abrams 2022 push going on right now.
No.
You look at Ossoff. The guy that lost to Karen Handel.
Right.
He was the first of the Alyssa Milano contingent where all the Hollywood people showed up to campaign for him and actually pissed off people so much that they went out and voted for the opponent just because they were like, God, I'm sick of these Hollywood douchebags tying up traffic.
Right.
But Ossoff, what did he do after he lost? He's gone, man.
Yep.
And he's not going to stick around and continue rubbing Georgia voters' faces in his defeat. And that's what she's doing. And I'm looking at it going, you can at some point think, well, you're welcome to continue just chipping away at your own party's foundation. When they look at what they're doing at the national level and see the same thing.
Right.
This whole, we're just not going to accept defeat.
Right.
That's their thing now. And I look at it and say, you're welcome to take that attitude. Really?
Yes, I agree.
Look at the long-term effects of that.
Yeah.
People don't like being told that they were wrong.
Right.
And you got to figure the moment you say the election was stolen, your base is going to agree instantaneously, no matter how far-fetched it is.
Right.
But outside the other side, the people who voted for the other person are absolutely going to be pissed off.
Yeah.
But then you got all the guys in the middle who are going, now come on, we know the truth.
Right.
And you lose, you're driving people away because the people that might have been flexible the next time around, they're going to look and they're going to see, say, if it's Brian Kemp and Abrams won't get out of the way, so they let her run again.
Right.
So you got Kemp versus Abrams round 2, and she has spent the last 4 years calling him an illegitimate governor, and by extension, the people of Georgia who elected him essentially illegitimate voters.
Right.
While simultaneously demanding the illegal aliens get the vote.
Right.
Stacey Abrams thinks she lost by 55,000 votes last time around. This next time around, it's going to be a bigger number.
Yeah.
If that's the contest again.
Because there'll be people who go, damn it.
I'm sick of you.
Still around.
I'm sick of you. When they're like, oh, she's young. And I'm like, well, if you get thumped publicly when you're young, you should. if you get knocked out in a boxing match when you're young, that doesn't mean you know, maybe it's time to consider another line of work.
Go into the corner and lick your wounds.
I mean, you were wearing protective headgear and got knocked out, then maybe this isn't the sport for you.
Right.
I mean, you're Stacey Abrams.
I mean, even so, even if she
I'm
wants to
sure
run in the next
there's some liberal, they'll put somebody out there, will put her on their board and be like, okay, we'll give you 6 figures a year to go run around talking about identity politics.
Right, right.
But go do that.
But don't say you won.
Yeah, but
because
stop
you
doing
lost.
it. Yeah, because it's pissing people off.
Right.
And it is pissing. If you look at the polling numbers in Georgia, people are sick of hearing about it.
Right.
And then it's, I'm not really going to run for Senate. I'm not really going to run for president. And we're like, well, of course you're not. You're doing that just to keep your name in the paper.
Right.
But if that's what you're doing, like, you know, I'm refusing to accept defeat so that I can maintain notoriety. People aren't as stupid as the Democrats treat them. They know when you're doing that. People know, you know when someone's doing that. You knew Stacey Abrams was not legitimately going to run for president of the United States.
No.
So she's obviously doing that to keep her name in the papers.
Yep.
And that irritates people. And she doesn't think people are smart enough to see that. And that irritates people further. And we see it at the national level as well. You know, when you go to take one step up and look at the impeachment push, which is either going to or not going to happen depending on what hour of the day it is and whether or not, I guess, Nancy Pelosi's had her Enfamil. I mean, have you had your boost with extra protein yet? Because if she's got her, if she's had her B12 shot or whatever, I don't know how they keep her going half the time. And I've noticed that she appears to be suffering more frequent mechanical breakdowns.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you catch her, it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, we should consider impeachment. He's crying out for impeachment. And then like 10:45, it's off the table. And then 11:30, it's back on. And, you know, now the other ones are starting to do it, where they hem and haw about it. And I'm like, you are really actually pissing people off.
I know. Either do it or don't do it.
Shit or get off the pot.
Right. And if you do it, you know what the outcome's going to be.
It's going
to be the exact same, probably the exact same thing that happened with their president, Bill Clinton.
Yeah, because the Senate's going to go, nah. And then you will have wasted all of this time and money and effort and, you know, ink by the barrel and fury and anger and divisiveness.
Splitting
you're just tearing the country apart.
Yep.
And it'll be like Stacey Abrams. It'll be like Hillary Clinton. It'll be like John Ossoff. And it'll be like it's going to be, which is that you're going to lose by more. Because people are tired of you beating this drum.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, and I think you're right. I think if they tried it right now, and if they were serious about it, they would just do it.
Right.
It's like, go ahead. Impeach. Bring articles of impeachment. You have a majority in the House. Bring your articles of impeachment.
Right.
Put the cards on the table or stop. You know, and what did Pelosi say? That Trump is crying out for impeachment. Okay, well then do it.
Yeah, because he's going, just do it. Get it over
with.
Put
your pennies where your pie holes are and do it. I mean, just, okay, fine. And let's see what happens. And I can tell you what'll happen will be the fallout will blow back on them.
Right.
Because people are going to go, oh, you couldn't get him with the Mueller report. It's actually possible that federal crimes were committed in an effort to get him.
Right.
Certainly prior to the election. Now you've got a situation where he's saying, I'm taking the leash off Bob Barr.
Right.
And we're going to get to the bottom of all the stuff that went down. Because we know that the Steele dossier was bogus. We know it was paid for by Hillary Clinton's people. And we know that the FBI knew when they went for the FISA warrant that they already knew that it was bogus.
Right.
So somebody fairly high up in the agencies had to be aware, because all of that stuff can't happen unless a number of fairly high-ranking people are involved.
Mm-hmm.
You could assume that, maybe it's possible that you had like Strzok and Page and those people who were not quite at the level of Loretta Lynch at the time was the AG.
Right.
It's possible that Lynch did not know. However, you say, well, what did Obama know? Did Obama order this? Were these guys acting on their own? The moment you're asking what Obama and Lynch knew, you're already talking about things that should clearly not have happened.
Right.
So did Lynch know? She might not have known. Did Obama know? He might not have known. If they didn't know, that's another problem.
Yeah, it's a big problem.
Because, good Lord, what the hell was happening? This was chaos.
Right.
You had an active conspiracy to take down a presidential nominee You are misusing federal assets to do so. It's a fairly wide. They had the Russian girl or the Turkish girl who was trying to hit on Manafort in the Papadopoulos in the London hotel, which didn't work. Because Papadopoulos is like, I've been to Vegas and Monte Carlo. I know what a pro looks like when I see one.
Right.
And he's like, I give him credit. He's like, he thinks he has some game, but he's like, I don't have the kind of game where a babe this hot walks up to me and buys me a drink. So something was off. So you had federal assets behind all of this, and they're doing a terrible job of it. Mm-hmm. Sending a hooker after Papadopoulos in a London hotel.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, you know what? I like to think of myself as a very handsome man, but I ain't that handsome.
Yeah.
Like, a Playboy Playmate walks up to me and says, I would like to buy you a drink. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no.
This is like one of those Facebook friend requests from the hot girl, and all the friends in common are like middle-aged dudes.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this isn't real. I'm going to hit delete. Accept friend requests from super hot Slavic sound. She's got one of those Winter Olympic accents.
Her name's Svetlana.
And she's got it's like she's blonde, she's perfect looking. Her name is Svetlana, and she has a Winter Olympics accent. Yeah. I'm like, no. Like, if that's me, I'm going to be like, there's no place in the universe when this is actually happening without somebody expecting to get paid for it.
Can I get her number? Oh, wait, no. I'm not.
Well, give Papadopoulos credit for admitting that.
Yeah, exactly.
But what he does is, in admitting that, is indicate that it was a really ham-fisted attempt. Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
They went way over the line. So if he's sniffing it out without even trying.
Kind of poorly thought out.
This was not a well-executed plan. Meaning either Obama's people, Lynch's people, were going bananas and no one was watching the store. Or Obama and Lynch knew, in which case, holy cow.
Yeah, neither way.
So
really
you guys
good.
are just buffoons.
Yep.
But now they've got Trump saying, all right, well, I'm going to take the leash off of Barr. Well, we're going to find out how all of this went down. Some of these guys are nervous. And that's the only reason Pelosi's being the way she's being.
Right.
Because they're trying they had Schiff out there, Adam Schiff from Californistan. And he's out there saying, well, we're going to, we're going to get to the bottom of this one way or another. Just because Mueller couldn't get him, we're going to have our own investigation. I'm like, okay, so, Mueller, for the criticism he received, it's over from his perspective.
Right.
He's like, I'm done. Okay, this is it. You don't have him. You didn't get him. And I'm out.
I'm leaving. I'm going to play golf with Trump.
2.5 years of work, $30 million. And I don't have what you wanted me to find. So we're just going to have our own investigation then. And I'm like, okay, really?
That's what you just had.
007 couldn't come up with the answer, but Inspector Gadget's going to find it? Yeah. Because it's like, Schiff is like, go, Gadget, partisan outrage. But you're not, if Bob Mueller could not find what you needed him to find, which is the needle in the haystack that proves Trump is the bad guy you say he is. Right. Adam Schiff's little pencil neck ass isn't going to track it down.
Nope.
That's like going, like the Terminator couldn't get through the wall, but Bluto from Animal House will pull it off. Come on. Flounder from Animal House. And so that's what they're doing.
Legacy there.
We need the dues. But it's obvious that that's what the cover-up talk is about. And I'm like, well, go ahead. If you think that if you have him, if you think you can get him,
then get him.
Do it.
Yeah.
Stop talking about it and do it. And then, when you see Trump is not just with the Barr thing, he's losing his temper now.
Right.
That doesn't play into their hands as well as they think. Like he had that Rose Garden blow up because they were supposed to have the infrastructure meeting. Mm-hmm. And Pelosi spent the entire morning accusing him with no evidence of a cover-up that Bob Mueller just said didn't happen.
Right.
And then going to go to the White House, like walk away from the camera and say, President Trump is a criminal. When they walk into the White House and be like, hey, you cut a deal on infrastructure. Come back out and be shocked that he walked out on the meeting.
Right.
It's like, I don't understand what happened. We called him we called him a criminal, and then he was like all mad. I'm like, really? This confused you? It's clear.
Do that to me too.
And if I'm an American, again, if I'm an American taxpayer who's paying attention, like I am, like you are, like most of the people listening to the last pod on the right are,
Right.
Whether you're plug the website, whether you're on laststopontheright.com or you're listening to us through KLRN, which is a cool group to be with.
Right.
Or however, iTunes. But you're paying, if you're listening this far into this program, then this stuff is important to you, and I respect that.
Right.
Like, okay, well, it should be. But they are now holding infrastructural projects hostage in order to push this.
Right.
She's going to go, Trump is the devil, and then walk into the Oval Office and expect to hammer out a deal on an infrastructure improvement plan.
Right.
You are either have no interest in reaching an accord that would allow that deal, or you are just god-awful at it.
It's like, I'm going to stomp on your toe. And then
and be like, hey, man, can I borrow $20?
Yeah, I was going to say, can you give me a piece of bubble gum, please?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's like this guy, like you punch some guy in the face and be like, oh, man, now that that's over with, can I borrow a double sawbuck, man?
Yes.
It's like, no.
Buy me a beer?
And then they're out there saying all of this cover-up nonsense to cover up their own cover-up. Which is, it's like mind-bending how weird Washington has gotten. It's like, yes, Nancy Pelosi is currently falsely accusing the president of the Speaker of the House, who is third in line to the presidency, is currently accusing without evidence the president of covering up a cover-up, I think, of her cover-up. I think there are 3 levels there.
Yeah, you lost me.
But
I understand.
Imagine the voters
going
to the polls next fall going, all right, enough. If I have to count cover up more than 3 times in one sentence, then someone's going to pay.
Right.
They're out there and we need to see the whole Mueller report. I'm like, you can buy it on Amazon.
Right.
Seriously.
Yep.
But the unredacted part, they're not going to show the people that are pushing that. They know that the stuff that is redacted in that report is going to stay redacted because the law says it must.
Right.
It is a law, by the way, that virtually every Democrat who is currently in the House, who is in the House in the last couple of years, voted for.
Right. They've probably taken advantage of at some point.
So they're like, this is a law that I support. That you cannot release certain things from federal grand jury proceedings.
Right.
And they supported that law, saying, no, this stuff has to be kept private. So they know that Barr can't release the fully unredacted report.
Right.
Before they even say something about it.
That doesn't matter.
No, and that's it. Seriously, if you want, you can go buy a copy of it on Amazon.
Yeah, I'm going to pass.
No, I'm just, or wherever.
Just saying.
It'll be in the remainder bin at Walmart by the end of the week.
Yes.
And you've got Pelosi, who is, in theory, the most powerful Democrat in the world right now.
Right.
I mean, I know she has lost a couple of skirmishes with Chiquita Khrushchev and the Congress jihadi from Minnesota and Tlaib, but they're garbage.
Right.
I mean, they're a joke. Ocasio-Cortez and Omar and Tlaib are just, they're sideshows at this point.
Right.
They get a lot of attention because they make a lot of noise. But having lost a couple of social media skirmishes with them doesn't change the fact that Pelosi is definitely swinging the biggest bat in the Democrat Party.
Right.
And she's saying there's a cover-up, but we're not going to impeach, which doesn't really resonate properly.
Right.
And that's when she can complete a sentence at all. Well, I mean,
you're right.
Okay, Trump should not have tweeted the video of her, when they'd spliced together a bunch of clips of her melting down.
Right.
Yeah. It was I thought it was a classless thing to do, but that's Trump. He's going to do it.
Right.
He's going to be, because he's a kind of, we've talked about it on the last pod on the right before. And I don't mean this to rile the MAGA heads, God love you. But I mean, be honest. We've mentioned it a couple times on this program. If you are honest with yourself, you admit that Trump is kind of an asshole.
Yes.
Well, and I mentioned it, I've said it more than a few times. Trump is the Batman president. He's not the one we need, but he's the one we deserve.
Yep, that's it.
But he's not, and that's not a comment on or a judgment on his effectiveness as a president, because from an economic perspective, we're going great guns. Generations have passed since the last time the economy was functioning this smoothly.
Right.
Literal generations.
Yep.
I'm not talking like Southwest African generations that are like, slightly longer than the tsetse fly, because infant mortality is
right.
I'm talking like real,
I mean,
it has been since
ago?
Kennedy has. Yeah. I mean, it's been since Eisenhower was in the White House. The last time the last time the economy was doing this well, the guys that fought in World War II were our age. You know, a little bit younger than us.
Speak for yourself.
Well, you know, in your case, I mean, well, you knew some of those guys. But
why do you think I like World War I?
They, because you remember it.
Exactly.
It's the economy. You can't say it's not functioning exceedingly well.
Yeah.
So they can't run on that. So they're going to run on that Trump's a pig. And I'm like, well, of course Trump's a pig.
Yeah, he's an
But
asshole.
you expect him to do stuff like this. And I thought it was classless, but it doesn't change the fact that the most powerful person in the Democrat Party appears to be in failing health. And because she does that
or something.
And then Biden's the same way. So you've got the most powerful member of your party and the guy who, if it all happened today, would be your nominee. And they are visibly the party of wokeness, the party of the kids, the party of progressiveness, the party of, Black Lives Matter and all of that stuff. And you're led by these people who are just these doddering ancients.
Who are old enough to be our grandparents.
I mean, literally, Bernie Sanders is old enough that he could conceivably be my grandfather. He would have had the generations had to be a little short, but a teenage Bernie Sanders with a teenage daughter could have had. That's actually true. He's that kind of old.
Right.
Biden is going to be 80 if he wins when he steps into the White House. Warren is in her late 60s. Pelosi's almost 80. And these guys, and it's not an old people thing. Because like my parents are not young.
I mean,
my mother is 29 and has remained so for rather a while, but my parents are not.
Well played.
I'm not going to say that because Mom is listening, but my old man, my old man is their age, and he's a lot more with it than these guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard not to notice that, though, and say that I thought these were the party of the youth movement, and then you look at them and you say when the hammer comes down, it's an 80-year-old person swinging it.
They are the party of the youth movement.
But
Schumer said so.
And that's another guy. Who else should we listen to but, Bernie Sanders?
Exactly.
These kids today with their... But I mean, okay, my old man, seriously, dude is their age. But like I would trust him in the White House before I trust any of these fools. Because he's still got it. I know when my old man is saying something that it's probably worth hearing. And he doesn't fumble and he doesn't have... I'm not saying that my old man's like Superman or whatever, but the guy's still got game. He can still get his way through, he can get his way through. He'll win an argument.
Right.
He can still talk and you should shut up when he's talking.
Right.
It's still stuff that's worth hearing. But with some of these guys, with Biden, it's like, dude, it's every other moment you're cringing.
Right.
Like it's not even like, ha-ha.
All of them.
Well, he's up on stage with his own wife at that, because he had the thing in Pittsburgh. When it was like he just all of a sudden word salad for like 30 seconds.
Right.
And then there was the thing on stage with his wife last weekend where he runs up on stage, he puts his arms around her, and she's like, "Get your hands off me."
Well, he's creepy.
I know, but that's your wife, dude.
So?
Did you see that though? And she like he put his hands around her, and she like reaches back and pulls his hands off her. Get your filthy paws off me. I'm like, oh, dude, that sucks to be you. I mean, okay, granted, it's possible that my old man might not be the first choice for the White House. But
okay.
But I'm getting like, okay, but because mom's all like, oh, he's deaf. You know how parents are. They've been together. My parents have been together for over 50 years. So they're like, they push their little buttons.
And they know where they know the button.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing.
But Mom will be like, "Oh, he's deaf. He's not paying attention." Well, Mom's mad at the old man. She'll be like, "Oh, he's deaf. He's not even paying attention. He can't hear you."
I hear you.
I'm going to say this: he hears. I think his hearing's just fine. I think he just now he's going to kill me for this. Because he's like, dude, why are you going to sell a brother out like that?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I'm fairly certain my old man hears but he hears it all and acts on what he wants to
see.
Because
your mom will call that selective hearing.
Yeah,
because it's exactly what it is. We all have it.
And I'll be like, he'll sit there like a stone when my mom's saying something, and he's just like, I don't care about this, and he'll be like, reading his tablet or whatever because he didn't give a damn. He can hear her. He's just choosing not to act on it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you talking to me?
But then, like, we'll be visiting or whatever, and I'll go to like sneak downstairs at like 1:30 in the morning for a snack, and he can hear that.
I hear that step
because it'll be like zip. Can't sleep, and you're like, oh, because he'll be the guy that gets there before you.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, whoa, where'd you go? Well, no, I can't. And now I'm never going to be able to again. Thanks, Pop.
Not tonight.
But I'm telling you right now, he hears just fine. But
yeah.
But then I look at some of these people the Democrats are putting up there.
Your phone is going to ring.
Oh, Mama's going to kill me. No, the old
Dad
man
is going to kill you.
He's going to be like, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you this summer.
And this will be the last pod on the right.
Yeah, this is literally the last pod on the right. But, you look at some people you look at a guy like my old man. He could handle the daily job.
Right.
He's not going to suddenly break down in the middle of the day and start going, blah, 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 blah. It's not going to be like Steve Martin and Mr. President, welcome to the blah, blah, blah expo, and we're looking forward to your remarks on the economy. And, you get like Biden and Pelosi. And there's a decent chance that they're going to get there and be like, oh, man, I'm going to mambo down to Banana Patch. Like Steve Martin talk.
Could he say, can't hang, bomb an egg to the bone, Jack?
Don't want no help, don't get no help. But there's this possibility that they'll start gibbering in the middle of whatever they're doing.
Right.
And then I'm thinking, well, if you're going to go with an old guy, how about you find an old guy that can complete a sentence?
Right.
And another thing that you're saying to the electorate, screw you.
Yeah.
At least it's not Hillary Clinton. Should be. I think that's a pretty low bar to set.
Yeah. But I do like that. I like that bar.
Mambo down to the Banana Patch bar. Well, you know who their other options were. There's stuff that we're not going to get to today because it's going to take too long. But you got to talk about Avenatti. Because a year ago, Michael Avenatti was on CNN and MSNBC every 20 minutes.
Right.
I mean, you couldn't get away from the guy because he was going after Trump on behalf of the porn star Stormy Daniels. And he was the story. And he was the story. He was the story.
Right.
And he reveled in it. And you had literally Brian Stelter on CNN saying, I am taking you seriously as a presidential contender.
Right.
And this dude we're talking about a guy that was advertising on park benches before that. He's an ambulance. This is the worst kind of lawyer. Michael Avenatti is the kind of lawyer that makes people make lawyer jokes.
Right.
And then so all of a sudden he is a presidential contender. Well, now, instead of the White House, it could be the big house. See what I did there?
I like that.
Yeah, I've been waiting all week to use that line. Well, it's
very nice.
He's going to be sleeping on park bench. He's going to go from advertising on park benches to sleeping on them, but now it's going to be like only if they have one in his prison cell.
Yeah, that's very true.
Homeboy's in some trouble now. He's facing multiple federal charges for ripping off the girl that he was representing, the porn star. And I'm looking at him going, This was like we're just talking about. Their legitimate contender is a nearly octogenarian Joe Biden, an octogenarian Bernie Sanders. Their party leader is a nearly octogenarian Nancy Pelosi. And the other guy that's gotten the most talk, just in terms of over the course of the moment people started saying, I'm going to run against Trump in 2020, behind Bernie and Biden, just by virtue of them being, continuously running, essentially, even with Biden not admitting it.
Right.
If you look over the last year, Avenatti has gotten the most hype.
Mm-hmm.
And now this dude's going to go to, it looks like he's going to go to prison. Can you imagine a poor bastard gets stuck with that?
Oh, God.
That gibbering little howler monkey as a cellie?
He may get, choked in prison.
No, I'm just like, the poor guy that's going to get stuck with him, that's an Eighth Amendment violation. It could be like the son of Sam. And be like, the son of Sam today was released from prison because he successfully made an Eighth Amendment case that sticking with Michael Avenatti was cruel and unusual.
Right.
I'd be like, look, I'm sorry, man. It's Michael Avenatti could drive, you could put him in a prison cell with some of those cats in the Supermax and be like, you'd have
good luck.
The shoe bomber from, Al Qaeda
right.
gets out because they violated his Eighth Amendment rights by sticking him with Michael Avenatti.
Yeah.
John, speaking of people getting out, John Walker Lind is out. The American Taliban?
Yes, don't.
He served his sentence. They let him out. He's going to be on whatever. I think they're going to have him. I think he'll wear an ankle monitor. I'm not sure. But he'll have to check in all the time, stuff like that, which we all know is garbage because these guys can, whatever. You can check in with your parole officer. Parole officer's got 40 cases that they have to keep up with or whatever. But he's going to be in Northern Virginia, which to me, I'm like, you're going to release him into a place where he can literally see the Pentagon from where
he, exactly.
Like he's going to be able to go and look at all the monuments that he would like to set on fire.
The train leads right there.
And then they're saying that they're going to restrict his internet usage. And I'm like, that's going to, unless you're going to have a camera on this dude, you go to any drugstore or gas station, buy you a burner phone, and you're on the internet.
Right.
So I don't really know how that's going to work. I'm not a capital punishment guy. I know you would probably have been like, nah, screw him, give him a needle.
They should have hung him.
Yeah, you see, I know you were going to say that.
That's the penalty for.
But I don't like the idea of killing people. I remain an opponent of capital punishment, especially because a guy like that is not necessary. Just put him in a box, like the ones they have out in the Supermax in Colorado. It's supposed to be
Sheriff Joe,
basically life in an isolation chamber, and they get yelled at. Sort of these civil rights groups are like, "Oh, it's cruel and unusual what they're doing to him," and he's like the most isolating place in the universe. I'm like, I don't care.
I don't give a damn.
Well, my point being that jam him in a box like that, and that way people say, "Well, we're going to spend money to keep him alive." I'm like, yeah, but trust me when I tell you. You want him to suffer, right?
He shouldn't be happy. It shouldn't be fun.
And instead of killing him, which accomplishes nothing. I mean, that's just vengeance.
Right.
And vengeance to me and justice are not the same thing. Put him in a box and leave him there. Slide the meal through the thing area. Eventually he'll whatever. I don't care. Let him grow moss and then die in there. I don't give a damn.
Right.
But actually killing him, to me, that's not justice. That's vengeance.
No,
because for his perspective, being in a box for the next 40 years is going to be just as bad.
Right.
He may think it's not going to be just as bad, but it's going to be pretty bad. So if the penalty is that you suffer mightily for what you've done, then the box for 40 years is suffer mightily. You kill him, you kind of let him off a little bit, I feel like. Because he was willing to die anyway.
Well, that's true.
But they're going to let him out. And what bothers me about the other part of this story that drives me nuts is that, they're letting him out. We're still at war over there. Remember, he was nabbed pretty early on in the fight.
Right.
It wasn't that long after we started getting serious about Afghanistan that they grabbed John Walker Lindh off the battlefield, and he ended up wherever the hell he is now. We're still, he's done more than, he's done I think almost 20 years, like 17 years or some, it's some insane number, 15 years. Right. He's done a full stretch in a federal lockup and is out, and our guys are still going over there and dying.
Right. Well, how about, let's let him hop on a plane over there. We'll give him $20 and see ya.
Well, put him back on the battlefield?
You could stay in Afghanistan.
Well, yeah, but why? Well, he's obviously going to end up firing an AK-47 at another soldier, so I would prefer do that and I take him out to Florence. And when I say Florence, if you're not familiar with me identifying it that way, the federal Supermax, and I'm talking Gitmo times a million, is in Florence, Colorado, and it is the closest thing I think you could imagine to constructing that wasn't literally just a series of isolation tanks. And you go there and you don't come back. It's the hole forever.
Right.
And there's some Ramzi Youssef is out there, the guy from the first World Trade Center bombing. Right, Richard Reed, the shoe bomber, is out there. Zacharias Masai, the 20th Al-Qaeda guy on September 11th, he's there. Eric Rudolph is there. That's where the worst of the worst go. Put him there. Put him there and leave him there. Right. And let him know that he's staying there. But to me, it's just because when you cross the line between imprisonment and execution, you're crossing the line between justice and revenge. And vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Well, it seems to me, are you getting what you want out of it?
Right.
And I would suggest to you that the answer is what you really want is for him to suffer, right?
Yeah,
maybe you kill him and it's over. You can only kill him one time. You can leave him in a box for 40 years.
Right.
That's just me, though. That's just me. They that's not going to, he's not going to be an issue that sticks around. It'll only be if he does something stupid that you'll hear about him again.
Right.
The worst case scenario, of course, is that he tries something in the next year as a part of some. You still have to wonder about the prospect of terrorism as another presidential election approaches.
Right.
And that would be a concern for me. The guy like that walking around right near Washington, D.C.
Yeah, in your back
right
pocket.
In the middle of an election season when everybody who's anybody politically is going to be coming through town.
Right.
So that, and they've got enough. This election's going to be weird enough already. I mean, really, one of the people running is Beto O'Rourke, for God's sake.
Yes.
It's already weird. There's a dude that dresses up in a furry outfit.
Who's a guy?
I think he has qualified for the debate. I think he has. This poor bastard.
I hope he wears that.
Beto O'Rourke is, he started out, he got a bunch of boost. He was up to about 12 points.
Right.
Now he's back down to like 1 or 2. And I legitimately don't know if he can hang on until the Iowa caucuses. Like, I don't know if I see, and this was going to be the guy.
Right.
And it's Biden just got in and stepped on his neck. And then he is such a noodle that you look at this guy. I was looking at some of the numbers for him. And, he's 1 or 2%.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in a situation where his high was 12, and that was with an undeclared Joe Biden yet to enter.
Right.
And I'm like, well, dude, maybe. And a lot of these guys, I think, we joke about the clown car and there's 24 Democrats running.
It's ridiculous.
But it's not going to stay that way.
No,
and the more I'm watching this, the more I think you're about to start seeing a bunch of people shake out. Right. I really do. I think Beto has better chance than some of them. But, Avenatti's gone.
Right.
Obviously, he's going to go to the big house or whatever. But Beto, I think, needs to start thinking about it. Nuke Boy, Swalwell.
Right. Yep.
I mean, some of it, you're not even getting PR out of it anymore.
What about Blasio? I mean,
well, and then De Blasio getting in late, and it's he's doing it for the exposure.
Right.
Because unless he has really gone around the bend, which is possible.
Yeah.
Well, unless a couple of these guys have really gone around the bend, you wonder, either somebody is in your ear that has just really got you under their spell, and you think this is legit, or you're doing it for exposure. Right. He's not even that popular in New York City at this point. If he faced a serious Democrat challenger, like if there was a recall or something, you think a Republican couldn't win in New York right now.
No.
But a Democrat who wasn't completely bananas could. I mean, he's off wandering around. They've got subway bandits pulling the emergency brakes. That's a new thing that's happening in New York now.
Yeah, no, they arrested him.
They found him?
They arrested him today.
It's stuff like that. Like the subway has been a disaster of late, and de Blasio has not fixed it, but he's been off, in Iowa.
Right.
Eating chicken with a knife and fork.
Yes.
Like he ate, and this is a dude. New Yorkers deserve this, though. I'm sorry if you're a New York City, God love you, and I love your town, I really do. But you deserve to have this buffoon as your mayor, because you knew when he ate pizza with a knife and a fork, and you voted for him anyway twice. Yep. So yeah, your city is in some trouble.
Can you cut the corn off my cob?
Oh, dude. Well, they'd run him out of Iowa for that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said it.
What did he just say? He said he was hoping maybe somebody could cut the corn. You need to get out. You need to get the hell out.
Bye.
Like, get out of our state. So that's their situation. We got a couple other things I want to do real quick, though, before we get going here. The Klan is marching in some town in Ohio this weekend.
Oh, yeah?
And everybody's making a big thing out of it. Oh, God, there's going to be a Klan rally. I'm like,
ignore them.
Seriously, stop talking.
Just
if you don't,
'em.
It's like the Klan are they're like rats. If you don't leave food out, you will have fewer. I don't even know I'd call them rats. The Klan are like cockroaches.
Keep your house clean.
The Klan are like cockroaches. You generally don't see them. They'll hide from you. And if you didn't leave crap out for them, you have fewer.
And they come out at night, and if you cut the light on, they're going to scurry.
But it's a big thing on social media, and you get on Twitter and Facebook, people are talking about it. And by the way, you can find us on those platforms.
Right.
I am on Twitter at Bennett Truth. That's 2 E's, 2 N's, 3 T's.
Not all in a row.
And then both of us can be found through the Facebook group associated with The Last Stop on the Right. You can go look us up.
Check out Ben's meme.
Check out my meme. This will be the last meme I ever post. I'll never do it again. You made me feel bad. It's back to nothing but dog pictures from now on. But they, we were talking about a different thing here, but it is now a social media thing right now to talk about this Klan rally that's going to happen in Ohio. And I'm like, you don't stop paying attention to them. Yep. They don't represent anyone but themselves. They're clowns. These guys are, you remember the goons, Richard Spencer's goons, that went to Charlottesville and set the place on fire with their tiki torches and their Gap khakis.
Right.
Okay, those are the smart ones of the crazy wacko racist movement. White supremacy is not the thing that the left would try to scare you into believing it is.
Right.
These guys are not a threat. They are buffoons.
Yes.
They are clowns. They are walking around in sheets. I mean, seriously. Have you ever seen a Klan guy doing his thing? I've never actually been.
No. I've never been to a Klan rally. I can honestly say that.
I meant in the sense that I've never been in a place where I've never gone and like seen one, or like I've never been in a place when one was happening. Yeah. When I was in college, actually the college I went to, before I got there, when my older brother was there, the Klan marched in that town while he was there. They said, and they got to make an announcement, do a whole thing, and. The college said, well, screw this. They threw a citywide block party. They said, everybody that lives in this town, when those pinheads are walking down Main Street, come on over. They went back to the back fields, way the hell away from Main Street, and said, every single person in the area, come party with us. And the college threw this big citywide barbecue, and everybody showed up, and it was games, and it was fun, and like a family day. Right. And everybody in the town went, and the Klan marched. It was like tumbleweeds. And that's how you handle them.
Right.
Because they never came back. Yep. Because nobody gave a damn. And you don't act like they're, but that was before I got there. I've never even seen these guys. If they were to march in Savannah, I would go look. When the Westboro Baptist Church wing, when they were here,
just thinking that.
I went in because I was like, I got to see, these guys aren't for real because they're so weird. I'm like, I want to go see what these guys look like. I mean, it's like rubbernecking at the freak show.
I went over with the sign that said
Sports Center is next. I went over with the sign. I couldn't get anywhere near him. It was before Phelps died. I wanted to get near him. I had a sign with an arrow. It said, smells like feet. Just because, a guy like that, you don't deserve the respect that people give them.
Right.
And when Westboro was here, they don't deserve respect. They deserve to be mocked. They have a right to be who they are.
Yep.
I'm not going to say they shouldn't be allowed because they should be.
Yep.
Even the most odious people, they have that right.
Their right. Yep.
As long as they don't act on any of it, I don't care.
But I have the right to be out there.
I'm going to go out there and make fun of you. If Fred, he's dead now, but if Fred Phelps' outfit comes through, I get to point out, I get to go and laugh and point at the freaks and be like, look at the freaks, because that's what they are.
Right.
And that's the way you handle the Klan. Don't treat them like they're serious. And you freak out. Oh my God, the Klan's marching. White supremacy is on the rise in America. And I'm like, no, it's not. These guys are all goofballs.
Right. Nobody
cares. Stop acting like it's a thing, and people will stop thinking it's a thing, and people will recognize it's not a real thing.
Right.
The Klan are doofuses. Nobody that goes out in public dressed like that deserves to be taken seriously.
Right.
I mean, if you're at the white sale at Macy's and you're measuring the pillowcases for hood use, then I'm not going to take you seriously. It's just the way it is, guys.
I guess that stuff wouldn't be available at the uniform shop, would it?
No, I'm going to guess it does. They must have a custom tailor.
Somebody.
There's a white supremacist.
I'm sure there is.
Can you imagine, what if you get a run in your dress? Whatever the thing is, right. The Klan dress that they wear. Do you have to go to where would you go to get that mended?
Ship that away to get fixed.
It's there's a Taylor Reich Taylor.
Can you get that back quick? Got a rally this weekend.
Got a rally this weekend. I'm like, dude, yeah. If you're dressing like that and leaving your house in public on purpose, then you either don't have a best friend or your best friend is a douchebag.
Yep.
Because if your best friend was any good, he would tell you, dude, you're dressed up. Look at you. Just being in the Klan, if your best friend's worth a damn, they'd be like, come on, man, really?
Right.
I mean, and also, if that's the master race, then humanity is screwed.
We are definitely
because those
screwed.
Dudes are about the most inbred looking hillbilly fools
Yep.
you've never seen. Of all the hate groups that are out there, And you always have like the guy, and they have the one like mouthpiece that's kind of slick,
right?
You know, and you're like, okay, they bring this guy out when they've screwed up,
right?
And he's got some game.
We done messed up,
and it's like you buy his story a little bit. And I'm not suggesting that it's for real, but you could be like, they have the one mouthpiece that's actually pretty good at his job and is at least tolerable.
Right.
Almost sounds like he finished high school, that kind of thing. The Klan doesn't have one of those guys. Every single time you hear someone that's speaking on behalf of the Klan, you're just like, you can hear the banjos in the distance. It's always some dude, and it's like, this is the best guy they could find for this?
Yep.
It's like, oh, yeah, you don't understand. That. You know what, Cletus? I really don't want to hear the rest of your story.
I mean, the fact that, like, they had a black guy that dressed up in the damn suit and goes out there and hangs out with them.
It's like, dude,
that should tell you something.
Yeah, you guys are serious now. So go tell your mom and your sister I said hello. And it's the same person. It's the same person. All right, we want to get off the road here, man, because this is something we're going to start doing. Mike, I'm going to say you're a philosopher. I'll put it that way. You like to hang out on your dude. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to make any effort to boost you anymore. Screw you, Jack.
Okay,
go ahead and introduce your own.
You would be the first person in my nearly 50 years that has ever said, I'm a philosopher.
Forget it. Mike is a monkey ass.
Okay, and, I've been called that before.
I'm just saying. So we want to do this because you got some, it doesn't need to all be about politics.
No.
Even here at the last pod on the right, not everything has to be on the right.
Right.
We're going to do this. And I'll remind everybody, if you want to hit up Mike for more of his wisdom and whatever is about to happen, I can tell you wisdom may or may not be associated with it.
Well,
if you've listened to the last hour of this podcast, wisdom is it's not a lock.
Flew out the window.
It's not a lock. We're going to hope for it, but you can always find us. And again, you can find me on Twitter at Bennett Truth, 2 E's, 2 N's, 3 T's.
And they're not all in a row.
And there is a Last Stop on the Right Facebook group.
Yep.
If you can always visit the website. You can always come to laststopontheright.com and just email us through there. But if you like the Facebook, go ahead. There is a Last Stop on the Right Facebook.
Yep.
Make sure you rate us on iTunes. I want to remind people to do that. Right? Because we just can't bring ourselves to be those guys.
See, and that's where I listen to it at.
You listen to iTunes?
And I really feel, like you said earlier, I really feel like I shouldn't rate ourselves.
I want to rate this, but it's just wrong.
God, we're a 5.
You get the testimonials and for the bad movies, and the testimonials are awesome, and then whoever actually said it, they have it really small. Because it turns out it's like, this was the greatest podcast of all time. And then you look really small print. It's like Ben's mom.
Yeah, exactly.
But we wanted to kind of get into Mike's. I wanted to give you, we're going to get you to do a little philosophizing here. Because
my park bench.
So Mike hangs out on a park bench, which by itself, and I've told you this before. I know you think you're like the view from Mike's park bench, and I'm like, dude, you're a 40-something-year-old dude sitting on a park bench. It's a little off-putting.
I'm not going to quote the Jethro Tull song.
It's a little off-putting. I'm just saying, Mikey's out there, beautiful girls, walk a little slower when you're going to walk by me, especially if you're under 14.
Oh, dude.
It's got kind of a pedophile-y thing going on. I know you're not. Mike is not a pedophile. Trust me.
In the words of David Lee Roth, thank God for all the other sizes, too.
I'm just saying, dude. Ew. But so you like to hang out on your park bench.
It's okay, yes.
We're going to
pictures.
Starting this again, you're not helping your cause by saying, I also take pictures. Because now people are going, what's he take pictures of? That's creepy. He takes landscape portraits.
Yes.
Occasionally a cute girl wanders into the frame, accidents happen.
Dude, again.
But we're going to start doing this every week here.
This went bad.
It's going to get so much worse. I can just tell. I don't know what's going to happen, but now, my friends, welcome to
Mike's Park Bench.
Mike's Park Bench here at the last pod on the right.
All right.
Mike, so what are you looking at this week?
Okay, well,
hopefully not underage women.
No, it's probably going to be worse.
It's unlikely that it's going to be worse. I feel like I can confidently predict that if it's worse, we're probably going to be doing the last episode of the show here.
All right. Well, so the new Star Wars movie coming out in December.
You're so nerded out about it. See,
I told you.
Well, so what? They had the new trailer that came out.
Well, the new trailer was out a couple of weeks ago.
You guys love this stuff.
And Vanity Fair, their issue this week, they've got the sneak peek.
So Mike hangs out on park benches taking pictures and reads Vanity Fair. Yeah, that's not.
But creepy. I will say that the pictures that they took on set are amazing, but they were taken by Annie Leibovitz. So
okay, well she's
amazing.
That's okay. Yeah, it's like the portraits were amazing and they were done by Da Vinci. I mean, fine.
Right.
But I'm not stunned.
Okay, but this is.
But you're nerding out about it all week. You saw those pictures. And,
I'm ready,
dude. Is it good?
I'm ready. I know
you love this Star Wars stuff, and it is
all 9 of them.
I know people that are listening to the last pod on the right now. It's like, especially they're listening through KLRN.
They're going, "How the hell?
What the hell are they talking about?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, but this is it's an incredible industry.
I mean, it's huge.
When you consider what that movie, when it first came out, they were having trouble getting theaters to play it.
Right?
They were actually forcing. This is a true story. When Star Wars, the original Star Wars, and I always say Star Wars because I'm not a nerd burger who's like, when I say Star Wars, I mean episode 27, blah, 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 chapter 3, whatever. It's just like, it's Star Wars. It was the first one.
Right,
Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Okay,
and so we were around for it.
When that came out, and for guys our age, we were little, well, I was a little kid. You were a teenager by then, I guess. Close to
77? No, man.
All right. But it was, we were little. I was a little
still
kid.
Single digits.
Okay. I mean, this, for kids of our generation, the Star Wars trilogy, the real ones, Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, that's benchmark film right there.
I know.
And you consider that in our entire lifetimes, it has continued to grow into something.
Right.
Because now that Disney owns it. But it's incredible to me the size of the industry that is built up around a film that when it first came out, they were forcing theater owners to play it in order to get there was some other movie. I don't remember the name of it. They're like, if you're going to have to play, if you want movie X, then you have to play Star Wars at least a couple of times.
Right.
And then 2 weeks later, they're like, oh boy.
Yeah.
They didn't have enough stuff. Like there was a lag with like the merchandising. Mm-hmm. It did not occur to them it was going to be that big a deal.
Boy, there's not a lag with the mercraising anymore.
No, man. Well, because once Disney owns something,
even before that,
but you love this stuff.
I know.
I mean, you're crazy about it.
I mean, I love
you have all the
storylines.
I know, and you know who all the people are, and
I mean, I guess I could compare it to like the Game of Thrones. Because,
what's going to happen?
Everybody's into that
because I feel like at this point,
I don't know. Right?
Keep in mind, I saw the first 3, and then 15, 20 years later, or whatever, when
number 1, 2, and 3 came
the prequels came out,
right.
and they were just garbage.
They are garbage, but I love the storyline.
And then I stopped going.
Right.
And I have seen bits and pieces of the rest of them over time.
Right.
And I have disliked them with increasing frequency. I haven't liked one really. And Empire Strikes Back is the best of them all.
Okay.
I put that out
I won't argue.
Star Wars itself was the coolest because it's like, oh my God, because nobody had ever seen anything like that.
Right.
I mean, guys my age can tell you what theater they saw it in.
Yep.
Like I know I remember exactly. I saw it at the Main Mall Cineplex.
South DeKalb.
It was South Portland, Maine. I was with my old man and my brothers, and we were. He was getting us out of our mom's hair for the day.
Right.
We're up in Maine. It was like a pouring down rain. It rained like all summer. I remember that summer. And, the old man was just coming up because we were driving our mother crazy. You can imagine 3 boys in the house.
No, wait, what?
All of whom are, under the age of 15. It was like open warfare. And it's raining and you're stuck in the house. There's only so much you can do.
Right.
So the old man would just take us on these increasingly bizarre trips out of New Hampshire and off into God knows where, just so my mom wouldn't, throw us into oven or whatever. And we went and we saw Star Wars at the Main Mall Theater in South Portland, Maine. And you come out and you're like, oh my God, what the hell did I just see?
Yeah, being 8 years old, you're like, oh my God, that's amazing.
I think I was 6. Because I'm younger than you. Yes. But still, and now you guys nerd out about it.
I love it.
And the kids, I am telling you, listeners to Last Pod on the Right, you see this guy all week. he has been geeking out about this whole Star Wars thing. And I'm like, well, the view from Mike's park bench this week should be you talking about. But I just, to me, I'm like,
I know, and
it's overplayed.
And this is like where our public is figuring out our differences.
And the single most irritating character in the history of cinema is in one of those movies.
Yes,
that Jar Jar Binks guy.
Yes,
it's like if Beto O'Rourke.
Misa hate you for saying that.
Every time I think of Beto O'Rourke, I think of Jar Jar Binks because he's that kind of goofy. It's like Misa ride a skateboard. I'm like, really?
Misa running for president.
Misa run for president. I'm like, no, dude, you're a goof. But I just,
he is terrible. I will give you.
Also, there's some issues I have with the storyline. Because the Empire is supposed to be all big and bad, right? They're the bad guys in every single episode, or whoever they are now.
The First Order.
Oh, sorry, the First Order. See, this is what I'm talking about. You know this stuff. You're like, it's not the Empire anymore. It's the First Order. And I'm like, it is a blatant allegory for Hitler and the Nazis. They even use the red and the black. Like, they're not even trying to be subtle.
You're right.
But fine, whatever they're called now.
The Force Awakens, they definitely did.
See, I don't even know. Whatever. The Force can do whatever the hell it wants at this point. But like, it's so okay. So these are the bad guys, right? And supposedly these guys are the guys that are oppressing the galaxy. And I can't help but notice that mostly what they do is hang around.
Yeah.
And it's only I know they're the good guys, but it's only when the good guys of these movies show up that shit starts getting blown up. You think about it. The Empire went to the jungle planet, whatever it was, and built the shield generator for the second Death Star, right?
Right.
In Return of the Jedi. Okay, so you got Ewoks on that planet, the little Muppet guys.
Indoor.
What? Okay, indoor. I thought they were outdoor.
Smell like it.
Sorry. They go to the moon, planet, whatever, indoor, to build their shield generator, and the planet's got these little koala bear looking dudes, right? Everybody's looking like it's like a planet of Teddy Ruxpins.
Yes.
And the Empire shows up and they do whatever the hell they're doing, and they're still by the time the rebels show up, there's still plenty of Teddy Ruxpins. So obviously the Empire did not wipe them out.
No.
Empire left the Teddy Ruxpins alone. The moment the good guys show up, that's when Teddy Ruxpins start getting whacked all over the place.
Yeah, but they helped them.
I'm like, it's every time these guys need help, a whole crap ton of people die. I just am putting out there, if you guys with your Skywalker clan worship or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, they're the good guys, right? I hate to point this out, but every time the Jedis or somebody in the Skywalker clan shows up, within moments, people are dying en masse. Within moments. The people are getting killed. They're like, yeah, we're fighting against the Empire. And I'm like, the Empire is scary. They fly scary spaceships and they have scary uniforms. And Darth Vader's a scary dude, but mostly the Empire appears to just fly around being scary. I mean, there were stormtroopers at in the first one where Luke first meets Kenobi and they go to the bar.
Yes.
What's the town?
Mos Eisley.
Okay. A wretched hive of scum and villainy, right? Is what Ben Kenobi quoted it as.
Yes.
There are stormtroopers there. And yet that place is like Vegas in the 50s.
But the stormtroopers are just stupid.
But I'm just saying, the Empire shows up. But this place is still, it's Casablanca, for Christ's sake.
Right.
But then when the rebels show up, the Jedi show up, all of a sudden dudes are getting their arms chopped off and, there's gunfights.
No, wait, now, see, Han Solo was on his own there because he shot first.
So that's what I'm saying. Every time the good guys show up in Star Wars, innocent people are within moments of dying. People that otherwise would have lived.
Okay.
So I'm just...
That's what makes it great, man.
You guys nerd out about your Star Wars, and I keep sitting in the background going, first of all, these movies have gotten increasingly bad. By the end of Return of the Jedi, I was like, this is garbage. Well, they fought a war, and in like a couple of hours... They beat the most powerful empire in the galaxy with a bunch of Teddy Ruxpins and like James Fenimore Cooper Indian traps. I'm like, they got these guys with like rolling logs.
Logs and take down the
Come on. And then they're singing songs. And then there's Force ghosts. And that's the dumbest thing in the history of movies, right?
And there was a Force Ghost, and then he changed to a different Force Ghost.
And they changed,
in the later
like,
movies.
you can't die, you just come back as a Force Ghost. And I'm like, but the Force Ghosts are interacting with people in real time. So where do the Force Ghosts go when they're not needed?
Yes, don't watch the next one, because I'm sure.
I mean, it's like they're if
Luke Skywalker,
like, he's dead, but he's going to come back more powerfully than you can possibly imagine. I'm like, well, of course he is. And then he shows up and he's the same guy. He's just kind of hard to see.
There's interference in the screen.
And he's just talking like it's a normal thing. And I'm like, you're going to just sit down and have a Force Ghost beer? I mean, so you literally cannot die if you're a Jedi Knight. You just hang around forever.
That's it.
What do Force Ghosts do when Luke doesn't need their advice?
I have no idea.
They just sit around.
They sit offset.
They're just hanging out. They're over at the craft service table. It's the Ghost craft services table.
Yes,
that's what they're doing over there. My friends, we wanted it, but Mike's park bench. That's the view from your park bench.
Yep.
So that is the view.
That is the view at the moment.
Say it, dude.
From Mike's park bench.
Thank you. I was like, come on, man. We're literally giving you a segment.
Well, you just said it.
Shut up, big baby. Seriously, for a grumpy old dude, he's surprisingly a baby. Oh, you silent treatment on the radio. That's like a sin though, because people can't hear you giving me a look.
It's flipping you off.
So yeah, you can't do that. You broke a radio rule. No matter how mad you are, you have to say something, because if you just give me the look.
See, I could.
Mikey was trying to give me the look, and I'm like, dude. Also, you can't do that.
I was just gonna be like.
You were trying to do the Godfather side eye.
No, I can't do it.
And I'm like, no, man. I hope you don't use that on your kids, because it doesn't work.
No, they laugh at me too.
Like, I was like, you need the Tommy Lee Jones look.
I will say, I am.
Do your kids laugh at you?
I am not the disciplinarian.
You just get used by your girls.
They're just like, whatever. Okay, that's fine.
I no shame in that, my friend.
Nope.
Hey, kids, it has been a lot of fun. We have enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Being a part of it today. The last stopontheright.com is the website. Don't forget, you can check us out through social media anytime you want to. I am on Twitter at Bennett Truth. That's 2 E's, 2 N's, 3 T's.
Not all in a row.
There is a Last Stop on the Right Facebook group. You're welcome to join it. You can track us down there if you'd like to. And, of course, you can always email us to the website. If you're checking us out on KLRN Radio, we recommend to you that you check out the rest of their programs on their Spreaker app. Get the Spreaker app and download it to your phone.
Yep.
Because it's super handy, and there's a lot of great stuff on there, and we are proud to be a small part of that growing enterprise.
Hopefully we'll be there next week.
Yeah, I think we'll probably survive.
Maybe.
I think we'll probably survive. Of course, if you'd like to talk to us about partnering with the program and or the website, Last Pod on the Right is accepting any and all offers that we think are worth listening to.
Absolutely. Come talk to me.
For everybody involved and all of you that make this what it is, because we're doing this for you kids. We're having fun. I hope you have a great weekend and a great week. I am Ben Crystal.
I am your father.
I knew you were going to do something.
Sorry.
I knew you were going to. Until next week, kids, this has been the Last Pod on the Right. We out.